Welcome back to the Christian Apologetics series on Dionysus. In this series, we're going to be going and exploring the fallen angels and the Nephilim storyline, straight out of the Bible, Genesis 6 type stuff, through the eyes of ancient Greece. Yes, specifically this book right here, Dionysiaca, which proves and illuminates the biblical story through pagan mythology. So follow us as we go down this road chasing Zeus, aka Satan, and his child Dionysus, aka Zagreus. Let's go. All right, let's get started back again into our episode on a series on the book of Dionysus, the Dionysiaca, hard to say. And so we just covered things about astrology, Lucifer, Isaiah 14, our last video, in chapter 6 here of the book of Dionysus. This is found in Theoi, is the spelling of the website to find this book on. Okay, so we have here Demeter. We talked about in the last episode Demeter, who's Zeus's sister, but also his mate, who they had Persephone with. We have Demeter here going for a prophecy to see who Persephone is going to end up with and to see how her life is going to be. Right, so we talked about her going to Astraeus here, the god of prophecy. We talk about her letting her hair down. We talk about the Eosophoros that you see here. That's going to be the name for Lucifer. In Hebrew, it's Halel ben Shahar. It's found in Isaiah 14, which means a shining one, son of the dawn. And here, Eos means dawn and Phoros means light, so the light of the dawn, his mother being Eos. All right, and so we talk about the way that they performed witchcraft there, right? And then it's tie-in to alchemy. So that's the secret of alchemy, is witchcraft. And so continue to remember here that witchcraft is a terrible thing. It's only deception and lies. It's created by the father of lies. It's going to get you nowhere positive. My life is positive because God gives me things. I ask God for things. Witchcraft is a total and an utter lie from the devil, and you are, you reap what you sow. You have faith in God, and you're given faith, right? Going on. Hesperos. Deo's refusing to drink, and so she ends up getting into a dance. What I wanted to show you here at 50, after the banquet, as the goddess had enough of the dance, she threw off the heavy goad of mind-maddening care, and inquired of the seer's arts. She laid her left hand on the knees of the kindly ancient, and with her right hand touched his deep-flowing beard in supplication. She recounted all of her daughter's wooers, and craved a comfortable oracle. For divinations, the Bible says divination is wrong, it's a sin, right? Can steal away anxieties by means of hopes to come. Nor did Astraeus refuse, and he learnt the details of the day when Persephone was born, and the exact time and variable course of the seasons which gave her birth, right? So then he's going to start counting. But before we get to this, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. So Astraeus, in the last episode we looked at and saw that he is a son of Krios. Krios, then Astraeus, and then Lucifer, right? And so, but then finding the timeline is difficult, because you're going to see this, what I'm going to show you is crazy, but then trying to figure out what happened before the flood, what happened after the flood, if some of this stuff is from, between Genesis 1:1 or in Genesis 1:1, the gap theory, because a lot of this is crazy, right? Astraeus, let's search him up. All right, Astraeus is an astrological deity and a titan in Greek mythology. His name means starry. I just read that in Theoi when it relating him as a son of Krios, who's the ram. Oh, it makes sense. He's associated with the winds. All right, so remember, there's a lot of storm gods. You got Thor and Zeus and such, right? They have power over the winds, things of that nature. All right, the father of the four and Ennemoi, the wind deities, with his wife Eos, the dawn. Lucifer's the power of the air. It's called the power of the air. And the New Testament, Prince of the power of the air. I forget the exact place where it's at. Oops. Anyway, so then down here, Astreus, who's a son of Krios, who's defined as a ram, right? You can look at as a ram named Khnum in Egypt. He was a creator god, ram-faced god of the Nile, right? These all seem to be related because when you see this, Astreus, I didn't know this until just now, was one of the 3 Selens, sons of the old god Silenus. So I was trying to show you that he was a rustic god, right? That he was somehow related to a goat, but this really more than answered my question here. Oops, I did not want to do that. Okay, because Silenus, I'm going to show you. There's a Silenus. Well, let me move my big head. See that word right there above my head? That's the word for the older level of satyrs, right? They're chubbier. They look more like this guy. Yeah. Block that one out. Right, so he's the old rustic god of winemaking and drunkenness. He's the foster father of the god Dionysus, entrusted to his care by Hermes after his birth from the thigh of Zeus, which is the second time that Dionysus made. So this means like this was after the flood. So this is kind of telling me that Silenus is a holdover from the flood. Right, when Dionysus was traveling through Phrygia, look at the Phrygian caps. Look how that ties into the god Zippy Totec. Look for a picture of Zippy Totec, red hat. Right, you'll be like, what is going on? Phrygian hats were popular in these cults. So, Astreus, all right, his father is Krios. Krios is a brother to Kronos, and he is defined as the god of the south, the constellation of Aries, which is the ram. And so interesting here, his son is a ram, and he's the god of the winds, Lucifer, god of Lucifer, or the father of Lucifer. Some very interesting stuff here. Right, so I just wanted to show you, what Demeter is doing and who she's doing it to, right? So she's getting down in front of Astreus, father of Lucifer, right, to get him to do astrology and magic with her. And then she's got her hand on his knees and touching his beard in supplication. So she's getting into it, right? Astreus didn't refuse. Took all the times and stuff and measured with his fingers and hands. Okay, he called his servant, and Asterion lifted a round revolving sphere, right? So this is a highly, look at the Greek, what's that Greek clock they found off? That's a device, like clock gear for a ship they found, highly complicated. This is like one of those things, right? So their level of technology is way above humans at that time. So Asterion lifted a round revolving sphere, the shape of the sky. So it's going to be on the face of a circle, which represents the flat earth. And then it's going to have the firmament, because the firmament is circular going around it, right? And then it's going to have a sphere that's going to be for like elements, planets, things of that nature. Lies they tell you. So let me just go ahead and remind you that the Bible considers the following witchcraft and blasphemy, because to get deeper into these you have to worship other spirits. This is going to get you into the reason you're doing this because there's spirits in control of this planet and this planet, right? So instead of worshiping God, you're talking to these other spirits. And even though it might look like it at first, the system is based upon it. It's like saying you're going to church, but you don't want nothing to do with God, but you go to Christian church all the time. If you do astrology, you're playing with the other gods, because that's their system, right? So let's learn the deceit of magic. Let's learn the art of deluding yourself. And this is what gives power to the destroyer, Zeus Satan, to bring these deceptions on that he's done to all these people. We see all those stories as him destroying people, utterly destroying them. And somehow he's God. No, he's a God because he's the devil, and he's called the devil. His throne in Pergamon, Revelation 2, the throne in Pergamon, the seat of Satan, that's what the seat was, where Zeus was. So the Bible calls Zeus Satan. And here's why. I think he's a shapeshifter. And a lot of this stuff is difficult because of that in the timing, before and after the flood. All right, sorry for getting off track there. So he gets this revolving sphere, the shape of the sky, okay, circle, the image of the universe, and laid it upon the lid of a chest. Here the ancient got to work. He turned it upon its pivot and directed his gaze around the circle of the zodiac, scanning in its place and that planets and fixed stars. He rolled the pole about with push, and the counterfeit sky went rapidly round and round in mobile course with a perpetual movement, carrying the artificial stars about the axle set through the middle. Observing the sphere with a glance all around, the deity found that the moon was crossing the curved line of her conjunction. The sun was halfway through his course, opposite the moon, right? A pointed cone of darkness crept from the earth, so that's the sun shining, the earth, the moon at this point, it's saying the moon is over the sky and the sun was under the earth when she was born. Okay, then he heard the rivals for wedded love, right? So he's looking at the constellation for marriage. And in that house was Ares and Venus. So Venus cheated on her husband and did it with Ares, right? So they're known as cheaters. So the prophecy is going to say that they're cheaters, okay? And spied the wife robber, that's Ares, Mars, over the sunset house, I forget which one that is, along with the evening star, Venus, of the Cyprian. Venus is from Cyprus. He found the portion called the portion of the parents under the Virgin's starry corn ear, and round the ear ran the light-bearing star of Cronades, who is Jupiter, Zeus, father of rain. So it's saying in the parents' house is Jupiter, so there's still some type of positive out of it, but Jupiter is Zeus, who's going to go in now. Persephone, so it's not a positive thing. Sorry for me saying that first. Far from positive. Very weird religion they have. Okay. When Astræus noticed everything and reckoned the circuit of the stars, he put away the ever-revolving sphere in its gloomy box, the sphere with its curious surface. And in answer to the goddess Demeter, he mouthed out a triple oracle of prophetic sound. Alright, so fond mother Demeter, and met her, right, here, that means mother in day. It's like sky mother, right? So Demeter might be Hera, because everyone who slept with, all the women who slept with the gods, when you research, all of them got punished crazy and died horrible deaths, right? And somehow he's still cast up higher than Jesus. But fond mother Demeter, which means mother, sky mother, Zeus mother, right? When the rays of the moon are stolen under a shady cone and her light is gone, guard against a robber bridegroom for Persephonae, a secret ravisher of your unsmirched girl. If the threads of fate can be persuaded, you will see before marriage a false and secret bedfellow come unforeseen, a half-monster, cunning-minded. Since I perceive by the western point Ares, the wife-stealer, walking with Paphion, I noticed the dragon rising beside them both, but I proclaim you most happy. For you will be known for glorious fruits in the four quarters of the universe, because you shall bestow fruit on the barren soil, since the Virgin holds out her handful of corn for the destined lot of your girl's parents. Alright, so it's the positive thing. He's saying, is your children will be known across the earth, but everything about it is horrible. Persephone is we're going to get to it by Zeus in the form of a dragon, right? And so he in the form of a dragon, and from that mingling is produced Dionysus. From Zeus, his daughter, comes Dionysus, the goat, sex god, right? So when you really get into it, you see that it's the opposite religion of Christianity. Any other facade is insane, right? And no one mocks any other religion. They all fall under basically Christian apologetics, and that's why I'm interested in this. Is that Demeter got the prophecy from Astræus, right? But when she heard what was going to happen, when she heard that someone uninvited and without being married was going to come and ravish her unravished daughter, she groaned and smiled at once.
Okay. So you see things like that, like that's going to be the enemy's attempt to pull people in, right? Okay, in some ways. And hastening by the paths of high heaven, she entered her own house with despondent step, right? And so then besides, she had a dragon's manger. When you go and study out this word dragon, it's in Greek it's the word echidna, right? And echidna is the she demon who created all the monsters in Greek mythology. She was the wife of Typhoeus. It's like the 50-headed one, kind of like Ravana, right? And so she's got echidna dragons that fly her little cart around. So Demeter has 2 dragons that fly her airborne cart around. Okay, and these dragons are echidna. They're in a manger. They're not like Jesus, but they're in a manger, right? And that word echidna, when Jesus says that, "O ye generation of vipers," you den of thieves, who's warned you of the judgment to come, when he keeps calling them a den of vipers, the word he's saying in Greek is echidna. So this bloodline is playing around. This is the bloodline that basically Jesus is condemning. Okay, so more and more Greek words that are showing that these all line up. These are serpent lovers, right? And we'll get into that more. The proof of that more. Okay, so she's yoking up her dragon chariot so that and she's rolling through the clouds. Okay, and round the back-reaching cape of the Libyan Ocean. So once we get towards the Libya area, there's Mount Hermon, where the angels came down. So they're heading back towards Israel, basically, ancient Israel. This is going to be before the flood, most likely. Right, I heard the helmeted Cretan troop. This is some Nephilim dance party that's smashing their swords and stuff together. Hasn't been revealed to me exactly what that is yet, but I'm putting my study in for it. All right, God has passed by all of them, going by Sicily, the Adriatic shores, right? And so she went down and went and secured her daughter. How old is her daughter? I'm wondering how old Persephone is at this point, right? Because in a hollow rock, and she loosed the dragons to guard this daughter. So when Zeus comes and does what he does, how exactly old is Persephone in this story? If we're talking got mangers up here, and she's getting placed in the rock. She's got a nurse with her. Wow, and leaves her there. Okay, and we're gonna start. This is where the topic we're gonna end it on is the actual personality of Zeus. I know you can't worship him. He's a god of destruction. Every single person, every woman who has sex with him ends up dying and getting cursed, like Medusa style, Gorgon style, getting turned into a cow with a gadfly. Getting turned into animals, becoming a snake worshiper. I don't know why a human would do that, except getting cursed for messing around with this god, right? These gods. And this is a entity much higher than us, who's able to shapeshift and so on. So he can be very tricky. Okay, so I'm going to start wrapping up on the point. What I'm talking about is how and who Zeus is. So this is Zeus's own daughter, and it seems as if, I don't know, she's definitely a virgin. I don't know how old she is. Okay, so Demeter took her to a dark dungeon with dragons, and then Zeus comes in, seals that deal, right, to his own daughter. He lulled to sleep with his eyes the creatures of his own shape. Oh, what do you mean? The dragon shape, okay? When you look at the words that they're using in the actual Greek here, it's calling Zeus Drakon, which is like the king dragon. So they're calling him Satan, the same word used in the Bible for Satan. Alright, so he's lulling to sleep dragons with his eyes because he's the greater dragon, and God Most High is the greatest of great dragons. He's the greatest man, he's the greatest God, he's the greatest everything. Okay? Alright. Persephone just couldn't figure out how to escape her mating. No. He does all this crazy stuff. By this marriage with the heavenly dragon, the womb of Persephone swelled with living fruit, and she bore Zagreus, the horned baby, who by himself climbed upon the heavenly throne of Zeus, and brandished in his little hand, and newly born, lifted and carried the thunderbolts in his tender fingers. But he did not hold the throne of Zeus for long. So he was given the throne of Zeus. All right, and this is the first birth of Zagreus, and as the chapter mark is the birth of Zagreus, which is he gets killed by the Titans in the Titan War, and then the world is flooded, right? So he's born here in this. As we get into it more, Cronides is Zeus, and he's having his time with her using his changeling countenance, right? When he bore Zagreus to her, he did so in the form of a bull, which takes us back to Minos and Minotaurs and Crete, Poseidon's bull sacrifice, Zeus' bull sacrifice, right? The 2,000 years zodiac period, which would be the age of the bull, Taurus, before the flood, and then the ram was after the flood up to Jesus, right? And that's why we have all these ram gods. Okay, this form, when they're talking about him in this form before the flood, it seems as if he was a bull, all right? And then it turned into a goat. And I know that sounds crazy, but this is a divine story, and some of it's based upon the actual zodiac. Okay. But to keep harping on Zeus's character, this is his daughter. He did it in the form of a dragon. The entity he created was Zagreus, right? And that entity, this whole thing, started a fight between him and the Titans, which led to the flood. The birth of this heavenly bull, right, led to one of the big things that led to the flood. And I'm seeing Zeus, and a lot of the Greek characters, they have many names. Like Dionysus is called Laios, Bacchus. He's called many names in here, right? And this name Cronides is named for Zeus. It means son of Kronos, right? And so when you break down the Greek myths and these Greek gods, they have many different names, and they've been branched off, and a lot of times it's purposefully to hide it, so by study is where you learn these things.
And this is concluding our study on episode 2, the book of Dionysus. And next episode, we're going to focus in on how Dionysus was killed by the Titans, how he was killed, what that means, and him being the heavenly bull, and what that means, and then what that will start to tie into Egypt and things of that nature. Before I finish the episode, I found a few more things on Silenus. I'm going to put at the end here. A couple more facts that tie in Silenus, the satyr, with Krios, the brother of Kronos, being the same entity, Krios being the same as Silenus, and then their ties together. And that'll be the end of the episode.
So we see, as I'm looking at this, one of the three Silenus, this guy. So let's go read up some that's going to give us an answer to this. Rhea, anyway, let's just get past that. Old Silenus was also ready for the fray, holding the fennel stalk, that horned son of the soil with two-form shape. So two forms, right? He's a man and then a beast. He brought 3 festive sons. Astræus was armed for battle. Meron and Lennius followed, each with a staff to support their hands of their old father in his travels over the hills. These ancients, already weak, and then vine branches to support their old slow bodies. All right. From these had sprung the two-form generation of the much married or many children satyrs. All right. Here we go. Astræus, in the Indian War of Dionysus, so this was like the Titanomachy. That's going to be another video. Here's one of the great wars. Is the Greek gods versus India and their gods. One of the maybe this is the only long account of it, the only account I know of. Okay, so except for the writing on the walls of their temples. Astreus, chief of the satyrs. You know, a minute ago I was thinking he's just father of Lucifer, and then the more study I see, he's chief of the satyrs, right? And that's because his dad is Silenus, who's like the leader and the chief, the foremost knowledge, known as the man, the satyr with the foremost knowledge, and the oldest satyr is Silenus, right? And he was in flight because they're not able to fight. They can't stand and fight. None of them would stand, right? And then to continue on to talking about his identity, okay, the 3 sons of shaggy-haired Silenus, right? So they're the 3 sons of this guy, but they're also, you know, he's also the son of Krios. Okay, and if we compare Krios to Silenus, the old satyr, 2-formed man, right? Alright, one way we can do that is, okay, Krios is the son of heaven and earth, right? So where are we just at? Right here. Sorry, I got so many quotes open. Okay, Silenus, who himself claims to spring up out of Mother Earth, Guy, unbegotten and self-delivered, which is basically saying, you know, he's a child of Gaia, Earth, Gaia, in heaven, you know, an angel. All right, so that connects him. He's the ram. That's the 2-formed goat person, literally. The man ram, Ares, Mars. That's an insane connection. That is literally an insane connection. That Krios, the brother of Kronos, is a satyr. So satyr, Saturn, it's all coming together, right? And then go and research Sair, goat demon. Okay, so Mount Sair of Esau in Edom, in Edom. Esau, right, in the land of Edom. In early Jewish thought, Sarim were demons, right? But the goat is Sair, which is satyr, okay? Early Jewish thought, it's a he-goat, right? So, Mount Sair, Horites, because that's the name of the people who live there. Or this is Esau, the land that Esau went into, Esau being the brother of Jacob. Okay, Horites. Horites means, so Mount Seir, the land that Edom went and took over, right? What does Horite mean? So we know Seir means goat devils. What does Horite mean? Let me see if I can skip to it. There we go. Cave dweller. Cave dweller. And so they're goat demon cave dwellers. Then you look at their names in Genesis 36 and the bloodlines of Esau, and that's where the punishment of Esau comes from, is because he bred into this goat demon clan, and that's why God cut off his lineage. Okay, so not to get too far off, but I'm always going to point back that all of this study confirms the Bible and goes directly back to the Bible and confirms the Word of God. And so here we are closing in on, as we read this story, closing in on who these entities are, what they're doing, that this is a true story. You know, knowledge is power. So get some knowledge, you know, get some knowledge.